Okay, this is just a short video about how you lap in the head for a overhead valve M series or B series BSA, or any other the overhead valve ones that don't use a gasket. So just take this head off. So the first thing we're going to do, and I started doing it, and I thought I should take a video of this, is we're going to go around and colour in the top of the barrel where it seals on the head. Now this one is slightly larger. It's actually a slightly larger seal, because what I did with this one is we machined out the head a bit larger, and we put a step on top of this sleeve so that the sleeve couldn't come down through the barrel, and that gave us a wider seating area here. And normally I think they're about 4 mil wide, whereas this is 5 or 6, I think. So yeah, so the first thing is we go around and we just colour this all in with texture. So we'll come back to the next bit. So we've coloured in the top of this with permanent marker, and that's dry now. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run this carefully on a flat aluminium block that's like 15 mil thick that I've got. But you need something dead flat to run it on. I just put a bit of sandpaper on there and clamp it on. A bit of actually cloth back emery paper. And we just put the head on there, and we just carefully give that a little backwards and forward. And we pull that off. So that's pretty well cleaned it all off nice and clean, which you just want to get this flat as a reference, and then when you then get your valve grinding paste and do the head, then you've got one surface that you know is flat, and then when you lap the head in, theoretically you'll end up with 2 flat surfaces. So we'll get onto the head next. Now, you don't want this moving around too much when you put it on the bench, so I just use a couple of roofing screws with a couple of big washers on them. See the screws in the bench there where I've done them before, and yeah, I just screw them down onto the bench just with a couple of screws, and that'll just hold it from moving around while you're trying to swivel the head backwards and forwards. All right. Now you should only need very fine grinding paste for this. If you've got big divots and things on the top of the sleeve, or if you've got divots in the head, then yeah, you might want to get it machined first, and then you've still got to lap it in afterwards. This head, you can see, had some damage to it, just there. So that's the main reason why I took the diameter of this head out, so I could still get a good seal on it. So yeah. So we just want a thin layer that's pretty constant, pretty equally thick, maybe, all the way around. ready to go. So you put the head on in the position where it's going to be, so your push rod tunnel hole lines up, and then you get your hands on top and you just give it a wiggle backwards and forwards. And you keep doing that for a while. So maybe give it about 5 minutes worth of rubbing. What I do with this is I actually get myself a little step ladder, a little set of steps, and I get myself so that I can get all my weight on top of it. Give it a good hard push down. And to some extent, you know, when you've got it right, when it sucks on really hard. Now you can see they're pretty polished all the way around. There's a few light lines in it still, but just in there's a bit of a shadow, which when you look at the rest of it, it's pretty shiny, and then you've just got this bit of a shadow there. So I reckon that's a bit that needs attention. So we'll just keep a bit of pressure on it until I can polish that right out. So that's looking like quite a good seal now all the way around. And that's quite good on the barrel. So the last thing that I do is I get a little bit of engineer's blue stuff. And I try and get a nice, again, like consistent, same thickness finish, which you can just sort of tell by the colour of it, really. Alright, so we've got a really thin, fine layer of blue all the way around that. Now I'll put the head back on and give it a spin backwards and forward and see what we get there. Right, so we've got our thin layer of marking blue around the outside of the barrel. This is all cleaned up on the inside. Just stick this in a little holder here. And when you mark it with the blue, you don't want to go too far backwards and forwards because you don't want to get a false reading on it. I'll drop that on a bit hard. Anyway, so just give it a little backwards and forwards just to bed it down, and that's stuck on nice and hard. Yeah, I've rechecked that and I'm happy with that. That's a nice clear seal all the way around. So it should be good to bolt it on.